Hello everyone, this is Afsar Ali. Welcome back to the continuation of Webdriver IO tutorial. In the previous tutorial, we covered the installation part and the configurations, and we discussed about the package.json, Webdriver IO config file. And in this session, we'll be covering about the tests. The first test we'll be writing on Webdriver IO and Cucumber. Okay, so prior to that, I just wanted to say that I changed something, some dependency I have added here. So if you see here in the dev dependencies, I have added babel-core and babel register. So this thing, and you also add it in your package.json. So don't worry about it for the time being. When we'll come across in the later session, I'll be telling you why I have added it or why we'll be needing it. So this is the one place that we have added, and another place that I have added over here in the pack wdio.config file. Okay, so if you go a little bit down in here, Cucumber options, there will be something called compiler. So if it is there, just add it, or if the compiler is not there in this session, just whole thing you need to add it. Okay, so like JS babel core. So here also same, the babel dependency we have added here. Basically it's TypeScript support. Okay, so later we'll discuss about it, why we need it. Fine. So okay, so let's start it with our today's agenda with our creating a simple login scenarios. Okay. Okay, so this is my demo application, new tour .demoaut.com. So in our for our login scenario, we'll be using this application. So the simple test would be just launch this URL, enter the password. It's a Mercury, password and username both are Mercury actually. Okay, so the first scenario would be just enter your username, enter your password, then click on the sign in button. Once you click on the sign in button, we'll be verifying that this page is launched. Either we can validate that this URL, we can validate with any of the button over here or any element present over here. Okay, so this is a simple test that will be covering in this first session, first test case. Okay, so let's start it. In Cucumber, in order to write any test, we need to write some feature files, right? So it would be like, first you write the feature files with the scenarios. Okay, so I created one folder called feature. Within that, I also created one file, like just right click new file, and I have written something within this feature file, login.feature. Okay, so in here the same thing I have written, the login scenario, performing a login. Feature name is performing a login. Then background is something it runs like if I have multiple scenarios here, so it will run before each scenarios. Okay, it's like before method uh, in testng, if you know about the testng or JUnit, something like that. So it kind of it run before each scenarios. Okay, is a background. So in the background, what I have written over here is given I am on the login page. That means I am on the login page, the first page. You'll see. Okay, in that I'll be having my username and password. So given here I'm on the login page, that means I need to write something within this particular uh, line that will correspond to, or that will lead to this particular page. Okay, that will navigate to this page. Okay, so we'll see how we'll handle these scenarios in WebDriver IO. So this is basic feature file that we write in Cucumber. If you guys don't know much about Cucumber, I would recommend you guys please go to Cucumber websites, or maybe go with any other tutorial and just learn what is the feature, what is background given, what is scenario outline, those things please. Okay, so yeah, for the first scenario is login with a default user. This is a positive scenario, so we are not considering about the negative scenario for the time being. Okay, so what we'll be doing, just enter username, enter the password, then click on the sign in button, then logging in. That's it. So pretty much simple. Okay, when I log in with a default user and password, then I shall be on the flight finder page. So this is flight finder page. Mercury is username, Mercury is password as well, default. So that means I'll be on flight finder page. Okay, this is called flight finder page. So this thing I need to validate using our scenario. Okay, so this is fine. I created a login.feature, but for writing our actual test using WebDriver IO, we need to do that, right? So feature file is created, but for step definition, there is something called step definition where the actual code that we need to write, right? So, okay, so let me just create another folder called step definition, fine. And within that, let me create another file called, maybe I can write login.stepdef.js. So this is kind of the uh, what you can say, the format I'll be using for step definition files. Okay, it's not necessary that you can add this stepdef.js, or maybe you can write login.js. Anything is fine, but for recognizing distinguishing purpose, you can have it. That's fine. Okay, so let's write the first line. So if you go here, we don't include this feature, this thing in our uh, step definition file, right? And background, also these keywords we don't include anywhere in this step definition file, but given, when, then, these things basically we need to write, right? So let's write within this. So first of all, I need to import something. Okay, import given, when, then. It's like same in Java or C Sharp. Okay, we need to import something, right? Given, when, and then. These three I'm importing from, I can say, sorry, from, okay, I'll say Cucumber. So I'll be importing those things from Cucumber. Fine. Then we can write given. Okay. So in here, so the given step that I have, because I am on the login page. So just copy this. Actually, you need to write the regular expression for this. We'll see later the complex regular expression scenarios as well. Okay. So let me write like this. Then I need to write, okay, then dollar. Within this, my this string should be present. Okay, this is then function, then like this. Okay, so this is the you can say the syntax we need to use, okay, for Cucumber.js. That's fine. So I'm on the login page. Okay, so similarly we need to create for when and then as well. So let me create for when, and then just let me copy this thing, same thing. Instead of given, let me, sorry, put a when, and I'll be writing this thing. Okay, just copy it, and you'll see. Okay, so this is my given, when, and then a step definition file. So the skeleton is being created, but the actual test we need to write. So the first of all, we need to write something called to launch the browser, right? So in this particular case, I'm on the login page. That means I need to launch the browser. So browser.url, this is the syntax for WebDriver IO for launching the URL. Sorry, browser, I would say the browser, and then just copy paste this thing from here. Okay, so http new tour new tours.demo AUT, so it will launch this particular login page. Okay, then the second one is I log in with the default user and password. Okay, so that means I'll be logging in with the username and password. For that I need its element locators. Okay, so for that how I can get it is I need to inspect this, just go to here and copy XPath. You can find it. It's too big, and also I have installed something called CrowPath. You can get um, XPath, or you can get CSS selector, anything you can get for this particular or any element. Okay, so let me just go to that, then I'll write browser. So instead of a driver in WebDriver IO, we used to write browsers. Okay, browser dot element. So in here, browser dot element, it's similar to driver dot find element in Selenium or in APM, right? So if I write like this, and I don't have to write anything called by.xpath or by.id, so it will automatically it will recognize whether it's a XPath, whether it's a CSS, etc. So we don't have to explicitly provide which locator type it is. So it's a pretty cool feature of WebDriver IO. So we don't have to provide any locator specific thing. That's cool, right? Similarly, I have added for this one the password and login also. And in case of browsers, WebDriver IO, we have set a value instead of send keys, right? Send keys in Selenium, but in mm, WebDriver IO, we have set values. Okay, then I'm clicking on that login button, this one. Okay, so Mercury, then clicking on the sign in button. So now I shall be on the flight finder page. So what I can do, I can also write browser dot get URL. Okay, so what it will do is it will fetch the URL of that particular page, and I'll say if the URL contains this, then my test pass. Okay, so where, or yeah, where is fine. Str URL, I got the URL. Okay, and just let me print. Let's not concern more about the assertion. Later on we'll do the assertion part. Okay, so I'll just print this URL is, I can say str URL. Fine, so our test is ready. Now the second part, that I need to do is I created the feature file, now the uh, step definition file, but these two files are not linked yet to our test configuration file. So for that, what we need to do is the path of this feature file and path of this step definition file we need to provide in our WebDriver IO config file, right? So as we discussed in the first session, so there is something called here the specs. Okay, so in specs we need to provide the path of this particular feature file. So that means if you see here, I have written features because I have created a folder features within this directory. That means this is the current directory where this wdio config file is present. In the current directory there is a folder called feature. So in the current directory there is a folder called features, and within that features I have written star dot feature. That means whatever file present, like 100 file, 1000 file, whatever file present with extension in with dot feature. Okay, it will take care of all the files as an array. Okay, then similarly we have something called require. Okay, so if you go here require, so in here we'll be providing the step definition files. So I have written for dot means the current directory there is something called step definition. Okay, step definition folder. Within the step definition folder I'll be taking care of all the file that ends with a dot js. Okay, so now our test is ready. We linked those. Okay, so don't worry about this base URL for now. I haven't used anywhere because I hard coded base URL, the same URL in our code. Okay, and there is one more thing here. If you go, I have used this browser name as a Chrome, and Chrome option is empty, and also something called path. So this is also you need to provide WDA hub, and this is local. Okay, so let's try to run our first ever test in WebDriver IO and Cucumber. So for running our test, what we need to do is we need to just go to a wdio file. So how we can go is first you need to write node module, node modules. Within node module there is something called bin folder. Within this bin folder there is something called wdio. So till here we need to give the path. Okay, dot bin dot wdio. Then once we got the wdio, we need to provide this path, this config file name here, wdio dot conf dot js. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so if we run it, we see a Chrome browser opened, and enter the username, enter the password, click on the sign in, and also it closes the browser. Okay, and if you see here, perform a login, and I am on the login page. This is one step. Second step is I log in with the default users. Third step is I shall be on the flight finder. So three are in the green. Okay, so that means three steps are passed, all tests passed, and this is I have set over here as a verbose log. Okay, so I can see everything what is happening inside the APM or the WebDriver IO. So you can see command, what is the command is, and what is the method of posting, post or get, everything you can see here. If you don't want to see all in detail, so what you can do is just go here. Instead of variables, you can write on the error, or if you don't want any of them, you can just write silent. Okay, maybe I'll write for info. Now I won't be seeing that much logs. Okay. Sorry, it says info is not available. It's okay. So let's write the error. Okay. So only in case of error, I'll be seeing logs. Otherwise, log will not be present. So you can see I didn't had that much logs, but my test got passed, right? So pretty simple. And yeah, so this is our first test. Then next we'll be seeing a more and more uh, test with more capabilities of WebDriver IO. Okay. Then also we'll see about how we can write a robust framework using WebDriver IO as well. Okay, so let me just revise what I have done for this till now. So what I have created is I created one feature file first, and I wrote my requirement, like what are the feature, what are the scenarios, right? And once I have this feature file ready, I can create my step definition file based on that, like using given, when, then, right? The same thing I'll be writing, and I have some um, WebDriver IO functions, utility methods present, like for launching browser, for finding elements. Okay, so for launching browser.url I'm using here, and for finding element I'm using browser.element, and we'll see later different kind of functionality of browser dot other methods also we'll see. Okay. Then we have set value. It's similar to send keys, and the click also is present. And I used here get URL also, and I printed here somewhere. You can see the URL is something. Okay, and then the same path of this step definition and this feature file path we need to provide over here. If you go to wdio config file, we need to provide here. This is the step definition file, and this is called yeah, specs file. This is our feature files. So these are the two things that we need to remember, that whatever file we uh, create over here, we need to specify here. As I have written here the star, so that means we don't need to provide explicitly each file that we create, right? Because it will dynamically, it will take care of all the files present within this step definition, which ends with .js, or in here, which ends with .feature file. Okay. So yeah, we don't have to, if we don't provide the star, then you need to provide each file present, whatever file present over here, you need to just copy and paste the whole name. Okay, so it's better to provide star. Fine. Okay, and also I'll be providing these codes, whatever we cover, the package.json file and wdio config file, and this login step definition file. I'll be pasting this code in my video descriptions. You can get this code there, right? Okay, thank you guys. Thanks a lot. See you in the next video.